Republican vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin kept up her busy schedule today, meeting with several world leaders who are here in New York for the UN session. But she took time out for an interview, and we talked about the financial crisis at length. We began, though, with reports that the lobbying firm of Senator McCain's campaign manager received payments as recently as last month from mortgage giant Freddie Mac, even as it was failing. I asked for her reaction during our exclusive interview.
My understanding is Rick Davis recused himself from the dealings in that firm, I don't know how long ago, a year or two ago, and that he's not benefiting from that. And, you know, I would hope that that's the case.
But he still has a stake in the company, so isn't that a conflict of interest?
Again, my understanding is that he recused himself from the dealings with Freddie and Fannie, any lobbying efforts on his part there, and I would hope that that's the case, because as John McCain has been saying, and as I've been on a much more local level, been also rallying against, is the undue influence of lobbyists in public policy decisions being made.
Then we focused on the $700 billion government bailout of bad debt, and I asked her if she supports it.
I'm ill about the position that America is in, and that we have to look at a $700 billion bailout. At the same time, we know that inaction is not an option, and as Senator McCain has said, unless this nearly $1 trillion bailout is what it may end up to be, unless there are amendments in Paulson's proposal, really, I don't believe that Americans are going to support this, and we will not support this. The interesting thing in the last couple of days that I have seen is that Americans are waiting to see what John McCain will do on this proposal. They're not waiting to see what Barack Obama is going to do. You know, is he going to do this and just see what way the political wind's blowing? They're waiting to see if John McCain will be able to see these amendments implemented in Paulson's proposal.
Why do you say that? Why are they waiting for John McCain and not Barack Obama?
He's got the track record of the leadership qualities and the pragmatism that's needed at a crisis time like this.
But polls have shown that Senator Obama has actually gotten a boost as a result of this latest crisis, with more people feeling that he can handle the situation better than John McCain.
You know, I'm not looking at poll numbers. What I think Americans at the end of the day are going to be able to go back and look at track records and see who's more apt to just be talking about solutions and wishing for and hoping for some opportunity to change, and who's actually done it.
If this doesn't pass, do you think there's a risk of another Great Depression?
Unfortunately, that is the road that America may find itself on. Not necessarily this, as it's been proposed, has to pass, or we're going to find ourselves in another Great Depression. But there has got to be action taken, bipartisan effort, Congress not pointing fingers at this point at one another, but finding the solution to this, taking action, and being serious about the reforms on Wall Street that are needed.
Would you support a moratorium on foreclosures to help average Americans keep their homes?
That's something that John McCain and I have both been discussing, whether that is part of the solution or not. You know, it's going to be a multifaceted solution that has to be found here.
So you haven't decided whether you'll support it or not? What are the pros and cons of it, do you think?
Oh, well, some decisions that have been made poorly should not be rewarded, of course. At the same time,
consumers, you're saying?
Consumers and those who were predator lenders also. That has to be considered also. But again, it's got to be a comprehensive, long-term solution found for this problem that America is facing today. As I say, we are getting into crisis mode here, and if we don't shore up the economy, much of that does have to do with homeowners, home buyers who had been given misinformation or made decisions based on not only poor information that they were given, but just not looking down the road as they should have been.
Do you blame them to an extent?
And not so much the homeowners who are now finding themselves in the position that they are in, but those predator lenders who have taken advantage of people who put their trust in government, for one, overseeing agencies that have that obligation to protect American consumers and American dollars, and they have let us down.
Some top Republicans and Democrats may not support this bill if John McCain doesn't, because it may be unpopular and they're not willing to take the political risks. If it doesn't pass, what is the alternative?
As I say, inaction is not an option. We have got to shore up our economy. This is crisis moment for America, really the rest of the world also, looking to see what the impacts will be if America were to choose not to shore up what has happened on Wall Street because of the ultimate adverse effects on Main Street, and then how that affects this globalization that we're a part of in our world. So the rest of the world really is looking at John McCain, the leadership that he's going to provide through this, and if those provisions in the proposal can be implemented and make this proposal better, make it make more sense to taxpayers, then again, John McCain is going to prove his leadership.
You're talking about greater oversight, not necessarily giving Treasury Secretary Paulson the keys to the castle. What will that oversight look like in your view?
I love John McCain's idea on the bipartisan overseeing board, and I think bipartisan is key on this. This is a time where, man, politics have got to be put aside. This is too important. This is crisis mode that we are in, and if the obsessive partisanship gets in the way of just doing what's right for Wall Street, for Main Street, for all of the economic factors that we're talking about here, then that is an atrocity, and that is just more politics as usual. If anyone is of that mindset that it's only one side or the other that can find a solution to this one.
Why isn't it better, Governor Palin, to spend $700 billion helping middle-class families who are struggling with health care, housing, gas, and groceries? Allow them to spend more and put more money into the economy instead of helping these big financial institutions that played a role in creating this mess.
That's why I say I, like every American I'm speaking with, we're ill about this position that we have been put in, where it is the taxpayers looking to bail out. But ultimately, what the bailout does is help those who are concerned about the health care reform that is needed to help shore up our economy, helping it's got to be all about job creation, too, shoring up our economy and putting it back on the right track. So health care reform and reducing taxes and reining in spending has got to accompany tax reductions and tax relief for Americans. And trade, we've got to see trade as opportunity, not as a competitive, scary thing, but 1 in 5 jobs being created in the trade sector today. We've got to look at that as more opportunity. All those things under the umbrella of job creation. This bailout is a part of that.